Hey guys, what's up? It is Calysta, and today I'm going to be explaining to you guys and walking you through the newest enhancement to the game, which is all around the Darknest. So you basically have these Darknest monsters that you have kind of throughout the map, and they range in levels from level 1 through level 5, and depending on the level you'll kind of have corresponding essences that go with that. Those essences can then be transmutated to then give you a reward. So that sounds crazy complicated, so I'm going to walk you through it so you can kind of see it in action. So in this shot, I am going to scout a level 5 Darknest. These guys are not like your typical monsters. You're able to scout them, and you're going to need to rally them, and you're going to need at least 2 players. So when you get your scout report, it is exactly like scouting a player, except you also can see what level the essence is. The levels of the essences will range all the way to 25, I believe, and they are super tough. So when you have a level 5 Darknest with a level 25 essence, it is going to take a tremendous amount of very, very strong T4s to be able to get there and defeat it. In this case, I'm going to show you guys kind of the whole process. So I have decided that this is going to be my victim, a level 4 Darknest, just a level 11 essence, so it shouldn't be too tough. One kind of defender, right? It doesn't get easier than that. The counter is super, super simple. These guys are comprised all of snipers, so we know we're going to go ahead and send to them a ton of infantry. So I'm going to go ahead, kick off the rally. Again, it has to be a rally, and you are going to notice that the number of defenders for these Darkness are pretty big. You're going to notice that they're going to be around the 2 million mark. Some of them can go up to 3-4 million, so huge numbers when you're thinking about what your rally is going to need to break through. And you're also going to notice that some of the level 25 essences have these incredibly strong walls. So you're going to see 9 million HP walls. So something that we have for the most part been saying, don't focus on siege, and I haven't been focusing on siege, and many of you haven't. This is a case where a certain amount of siege would help. Now for my rally, I don't really need siege. I am asking my guild to basically send me all infantry. I was pretty clear about that. Don't send me anything else but infantry. We could have left some of the siege in. I think somebody asked for it to be recalled, which is totally fine. The wall was only about, I think, 3 to 2 million, which is not bad. Our infantry would be able to break through that pretty quickly anyway, so it's not a tremendous deal. If we were talking about a 9 million, 10 million wall, we definitely would need some siege to be able to kind of crack through there. The problem is siege is only effective for the wall, right? Like once you're in the battle, siege is kind of like a lost troop, so you have to make sure that you're not bringing them in unless you absolutely need to. In this case, we're kind of making sure that we're filling the rally. That's very important. And something else that's important to mention is you're kind of seeing, I set this rally for 10 minutes just because it takes quite a bit to fill it, and I want to make sure that people are really clear on what they need to send me. Why this is so valuable, and I'm sure a ton of you guys have figured this out and are doing it, is this is a really awesome way to practice your rally. So troops that are lost, that are dead as opposed to wounded, in these rallies against the Darkness are not completely gone. You're going to have about a 95% survival rate after you get your battle report. So your battle report might look terrifying, right? You might see, 500,000 dead troops. 95% of those, it'll say something about the goddess. 95% of those are not going to actually die. So you're safe practicing here. And you're going to notice that even guilds that are constantly doing rallies, it's really important in terms of being able to collaborate with each other, but also coordinate. What you're going to see is some folks, heavy up on, let's say, snipers, and that's all that they have at the moment. And I'll say, send me infantry, and they'll send me a bunch of snipers, right? Like, that's not what you want, and that definitely didn't happen here. People were awesome at sending me exactly what we needed. We ended up having a tremendous result, and this is totally what you want to see, right? The guild was just fantastic. Everyone just kind of came together really quickly, sent me what I needed. We were ready to rock. I'm very close to being full here. By the end of the rally period, I am full, and I am able to march with a full army, which is great. For these Darkness, especially the higher level ones, you're going to need to be full. I would recommend that if you're going after a level 4 or a level 5 and you're not full, you're at 1.6 million out of, you know, your 2.1 or whatever you are in terms of your max, I would cancel and try again to make sure that you can fill up your rally, because again, some of these Darknests have a tremendous amount of troops, and some of them are primarily T4, so it's very hard. You also want to make sure when you're kind of kicking off these rallies that you're letting in your T4s first, depending on what guild you're in at the moment. If you do have kind of like a 50-50 split amongst your guild members in terms of who has T4 and who doesn't, T4 should always get priority. Make sure that you're filling with T4 as much as possible, and then T3 can come in and fill. Another thing that I also recommend is having your T4 go ahead, put in as many as possible, and if let's say you have 100,000 left, certain members that want to get in and want to be able to obtain the essence, they can send in one troop and it will still work. They don't need to send in a minimum amount of troops. If they send in one troop, they're still going to be able to get the benefit of the reward. So it's a really neat perk for some of your members that are still kind of working on their T4. So definitely recommend that as well. I would also say with these rallies, it is really important to make sure that you are spec'd correctly if you're going to be a rally leader. You want to make sure, like with any rally, that you have the right gear on, that your talents are set. You're going to see me going through some of these screens over and over again because I'm just making sure, is my infantry max? Is my infantry max? I'm going to keep checking. I'm going to keep checking my gear. I'm going to make sure I have my buffs, right? So I want to make sure that I went ahead and put on my attack boost. And again, when you're the leader, the rally leader, you are responsible for everyone's troops. I totally take that to heart, and I always take it pretty seriously. And I've been in alliances in the past where somebody will say, "Yeah, I'm going to do a rally," and everyone sends troops, and they're like, "Oh, oops, I was in research gear," and everybody ends up, you know, filling up their hospitals. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that before you're even calling a rally, you know you can handle it. You know that you have the right specs, that you have the right gear to be able to counter effectively. For example, with this Darkness, as soon as I saw snipers, I was like, easy. I'm all about infantry and cav. That's where I heavy up. If it had been a Darkness that required a tremendous amount of range, probably I wouldn't be the right one because I don't have the gear for that, right? So you want to make sure that you're keeping that in mind to be able to have a successful outcome. I cannot tell you the amount of times that various guilds have gone to try to defeat the level 5 Darkness. They are incredibly tough, some of them. Some of them almost feel like they're buggy because it's impossible to defeat them. And there have been moments where we've had different people take turns being rally leader, right? Because everybody has different gear and different specs. So we'll have people take different turns. We'll try different troop compositions. Maybe we'll do 30% cavalry, 70% range, or maybe we'll try a 20-80 to try to see like what is going to turn the tide in our favor. And this is the really cool thing about this, is you can use this to practice, right? So the more that you're doing that, people get used to the rally leader making out calls. You get used to people clearing chat when you're doing a rally. That's another thing that's really important. You don't want to have 5 different sidebar conversations about who's doing, you know, what over the weekend and who watched what show while you're trying to put together a rally, right? Because if your rally leader called out the composition that they need, it's going to get lost in the clutter. So you want to make sure you're clearing chat and that it becomes a discipline, right? So this is all about disciplining your guild to be able to be more effective at rallying. So that is kind of like one very neat side thing. Here we are already marching. This is always the most exciting part for me because I feel like the most anxious as I'm getting there. It's kind of like, just get there already so I can see. And I actually sped them up a little bit because I was a bit far. I was still in the hive with the rest of my guild. But you can see that we ended up attacking and we won. Super exciting. We had a day where we were just practicing on different kind of level 5s, and some of them were just incredibly difficult. So it was nice that this was like a quick, easy one. You can see all the troops are going to disperse. You can also see how many people contributed troops, right? So we had an absolutely full rally. A ton of T4 was in this rally. That's always helpful. But if you're in a guild that is a bit smaller, if you're in some of the newer kingdoms and you want to go after the T3 level, 2 or 3 Darkness, that's fine as well. Definitely go and practice. Here we have the final report. Pretty successful. We lost 1.2 million might. The enemy lost 45.7 million might. We ended up killing everybody on their side. We ended up winning. Those 21,000 deaths that you saw for our side weren't actually 21,000 deaths. So as I mentioned before, 95% of those guys are not actually going to die. Nobody sees shifts in might either after these. So you're going to notice when you do these rallies, nobody's might is actually changing. Because at the end you'll see the god is displeased with your efforts. Many of your wounded and dead have been saved. It's actually most of them, right? So if you're in a guild where you don't have a tremendous amount of troops, you can still take advantage of this, and I definitely recommend that you do it, not only for the essences but also for the practice, because you want to make sure that your members are super familiar with how to run effective rallies at the drop of a hat, right? Because they're really important during KVK. They're important when you're warring with other alliances. Even if they're stronger than you, if you can run an effective rally, it just puts you heads and shoulders above the competition. Here I'm just kind of checking what the battle report was from a details perspective. You can very clearly see that if everybody paid attention and sent infantry, nobody would have lost anyone, right? Because that is literally, it's a 1-to-1 counter. And counters, I think the estimation is they're 4 to 5 times stronger. This is a transmutation lab, guys. So this is within your kingdom. Here you can see the essence that we obtained, and you can see that we can transmute the essence, right? So transmutation basically means you're going to transform. So I go ahead, I transmuted it, closes up in that really cute little weird coney hat thing, and it's basically going through a transmutation process where it's going to take that essence and convert it into something that you can use. Now people have been getting things like resources in there. You can get speed ups. I will be checking in with you guys tomorrow and show you what that ends up being. Then the other piece that is also new and part of this new enhancement is the Labyrinth. And this is where a lot of people are spending a ton of gems. So you have the normal and the elite. And for now, let's look at elite. Elite does reset and give you a free turn. So you can see here I have a free turn. I'm super excited. I'm going to press that free turn and see kind of what happens, right? Which you see there. And I'm like, oh, am I going to get that jackpot of 15 million gems? No, I got 500,000 wood. That's okay. And just for the video, I decided, I've been really good about not going crazy on this. I decided to run a couple of runs in the elite labyrinth just to give you guys an idea of like the types of prices that come up. Ultimately, what you want is what is on the bottom right. So you want a chance to get that 15.2 million, right? Right now, I think I got a 15-minute speed up. I go ahead, I'm doing this one by one. I didn't want to like buy them all in bulk or something like that. I go again. What did I get this time? 150,000 ore. Okay, I'm actually really short on ore, so I was kind of pumped about that. And then the last time, because I told myself 3 times and that's it, I get 50,000 ore. So, you know, not as cool as 150,000 ore, but it's still ore and I need it, you know, all good. I know folks have been spending a ton of gems there because it is fun. It is very much like, you know, that game of chance to see like, will I be the one that is the winner? And then they display your name and it feels like super cool, right? So why not? That is all for now. I'm going to check in the Transmutation Lab once it is ready. It takes 8 hours to let you guys know what we end up winning. Hey guys, I am back. So 8 hours have passed. It's actually the next day. I ended up recording pretty late yesterday. So overnight, it takes about 8 hours for the transmutation to finish. So now I'm going to show you guys what happens. So you go back into your transmutation lab, and it's basically going to let you know that you're able to go ahead and collect whatever it ends up being. So let's click it and see what it is. And we ended up getting 5 60-minute speed ups. Not bad. And remember, it was only an level 11 essence, right? So as you get essences that are much higher in the 20s, maybe even 25, you are going to see better prizes. Another thing that's important to note is you can hold up to 3 different essences at a time. So if your guild is actively rallying constantly, you're able to kind of fill these up with 3 different essences if you get a 4th one and it's a better level than the ones that you have here that you have not started transmutating yet. You can go ahead and delete what you already have there and replace it with the better level essence. That's also assuming you haven't started the transmutation process. If you have, you're kind of like in there and you're going to have to wait until the process is over. Hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions down below. Thank you.